Hello. Today is Tuesday, January the 6th. So I was looking at TikTok last night, and there's some things, a trend that I see that's growing that's very, very dangerous to generation of kids. And I see a lot of people like hate their parents. I think that's odd. That so many of them hate their parents. And I wish that people would normalize not hating your parent. The thing is to get to know your parent so you can see how they think. And when you see who they are, where they come from, how they think, you can see why they make the decisions they make. I can tell you I've been both of my dad's mothers for a long time. I have two of them. Willie Lewis McWilliams, I'm Misty McWilliams, and Michael W. Green. Both of them have different vices, different mannerisms, but need parenting both the same. They both are hard-headed. They both are stubborn. They both have their vices. They both come from a time to where women voices were not heard. Not only were they not heard, they weren't valued. So you can't be passive with these kind of men. Okay? You literally got to be the daughter from hell. And with both of them, they'll tell you. Because I'm their oldest on both ends. They'll tell you, well, one's like, I'll go get my daughter. I show your ass. I'll go get my daughter for your ass. That's how it really is. And then Michael Green is like, oh, Lord, here she come. Shit. Oh, Lord, here she come. And everybody around him be like, ooh, you better not play with him because his daughter's pretty mean. So one of them, my mama chose both of them. And I was like, oh, my God, mama, you could, girl, where was your pickle? But one is really no better than the other. And they like to think that one is better than the other. They're no better. They're the same. So I used to really dislike Michael Green. I used to really dislike him. But I've always had a pulling to this man. Like it's a red string, invisible string somewhere that links us together, right? So I've always felt that. And I remember when my mom died, well, when she was dying, she asked me, she says, you going to take care of those old fools? And I said, okay, all right, Mom. Babe, she should have left a manual. They both are hard to deal with medically. They both are hard to deal with financially. They just have really, really hard heads. And they think they know everything and don't know nothing. And very outdated on technology, both of them. But I take turns beefing with them. And I used to beef with my parents because I felt like, you should know better. How do I know better and y'all don't know better? Like, come on now. Then when I went to school for psychiatry, I started using that on my parents. I started using my parents as case studies. Now, Willie Lewis and his wife, Danette, I use them behind their back as a case study for domestic violence and why you shouldn't raise kids in a domestic situation. He was very domestic-y. And Michael Green let me use him as a case study because he was just amazed. He was like, "You going to school for what?" So he let me use him as a case study. And of course, my mom, I use her as a case study too. I used my parents. I did. And made very good grades from them. And the fortunate thing is that I am able to see my parents. I see them. I know them. They can't even lie to me because I know them. I know who they are. They've been with me my whole life. And I've never understand how people can be with you your whole life and you know nothing about them. That is the weirdest thing ever. But as I got to know those men, I realized ain't no way in hell they could have took me to where I'm at today. They don't have the capacity right now. Ain't no way in hell they could have got me here. Now, a lot of my resourcefulness, like I'm able to fix stuff and do stuff and all that stuff, that come from Willie Lewis McWilliams. That's the girl he built. Tough as nails. And then Michael Green is more of a cook, decorate, that kind of man. And they are both, one is a alpha male, one is a beta male. Okay, one is very aggressive and one is passive aggressive. But no different though. Okay. One of them, people know not to play with him. The same way people know not to play with me. They know not to play with me. And what about it? And they know not to play with Willie Lewis. You're not going to play with him because he ain't going to stand for it. Do you understand that? Now, Michael Green, he'll let you play with him. Well, Michael Green had a long bout with drugs. And in the black community, I don't know about nobody else's community, but in the black community, when you encounter an elder that has problems with drugs, a lot of times they're disrespected, right? Especially by younger generations of people. They can be very disrespectful. Not mine, you're not. Because he dating a woman right now to sit to the table about children. Ma'am, what do you think gonna happen if something happen to him? What do you think I'm gonna do? Now, I know you've heard about how much of a fool I can be. You understand that? You don't want to see that. I would never want to put that on you. But if something happened to him, all hell gonna break loose in your house. Understand? And she understood. Okay? I don't play. Not about my parents. My parents would never have to be scared of nothing. Nothing. Not as long as I'm their daughter. Because guess who ain't never scared? Me. Never. I'm never scared. I'm scared of two things. Spiders and pit bulls. And if you don't slither on your have 8 legs and slither on your belly, or got the muscle of a prisoner, what about it? Okay? But I said all that to say, your parents have deficits the same way you did, right? When you look at how your parents was raised, you can see the deficit. Like, one father comes from a mother who was very passive. She's very, very passive. Sweet as pie. Sweetest woman in the whole wide world to me. She will always be that. My mama will always be the sweetest woman in the world to me. But to have boys that aggressive, it was a disconnect there. Plus, they grew up in Alabama. Old school Alabama, not today Alabama. Old school Alabama, 50s Alabama. You understand how bad that was? Can you imagine the aggression, And she's a passive aggressive woman. And so the dynamics for that were very off. And she met very aggressive men. And it just was a cycle until her husband passed and she was able to figure out who she was, find her footing and find her way and things like that. Then the other dad had a aggressive, cruel Cruella de Vil mama. I mean, that one was horrible. She would say things that you just don't supposed to say. She was very uncanny. She was just a woman I just didn't care to be around. And I about told her as much too when I was like 13. Ma'am, I don't want to be over here. Same way you don't like me and my mama, I don't like you either. I'm dragged over here. I don't want to be here. Well, stop. You damn right I will. And never die to her door ever again. But now I can understand how he is the way he is. And if you look at his brothers, you can tell they were raised by a very aggressive, overbearing, cruel mother. And she had like 9 children. And for her to be that type of woman, you have to know the people who raised her. But that was before my time. I can only assume the people who raised her really were some mean people. They had to be some very mean, outlandish, cruel people for her to have that type of cruelty inside of her like that. Okay? I can see how these men, their balance is off. Both of them. And I'm their daughter. Both of them. They share me. They both call me their daughter. And they both know I don't play. I don't play. Not about my parents. I don't play about care for my parents. There's a lot of things I just don't play with. Because one thing that I understand, and I said this at my mother's funeral, the rift me and my mom had growing up was because my mom didn't talk. My mom didn't explain things because she did not have the capacity. She really didn't. Now, at 49, when I look back on my mom, she was young. She just did not have the capacity to do all that. When you see things from a broader spectrum, you will not hate your parents. You will not hate your parents. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom couldn't take me through college. She had never been. How can I have college conversations with a mom that never been? My mom was so scared of the campus. She was like, once I got in there, she was like, I ain't never come back over there. I don't know. This is just a lot going on. She did not have the capacity because she didn't even know what she was looking at. So we have got to stop hating our parents. Our parents are here to take us as far as they can take us. That's as far as they can go. Life got to get you the rest of the way. Of course, life gonna bing, bing, bing. You upside your head, but you can't blame your mama for that. Whether you had that mama or another mama, life gonna still life. Life gonna still have to show you where your parents couldn't. And another thing we have to take in consideration, we are rebellious. Yes, we are. We have rebellious spirits, right? We do. We like to not take accountability and put it on our parents. I always tell people, I'm the mama. You put something in front of my face, I give your ass a nervous breakdown. Because I'm going to give you a play-by-play how it all went down. And what about it? So if you want to like, oh, you didn't do it. You want to know why I didn't do? You want to know why? Because I said, I talked, I showed. I said, I talked, I showed. I poured in. I said, I talked. How long? How long I was going to have to talk to you before you got it? And now it's my fault that you didn't get it. Boy, go to hell. Go right to hell. Go to hell. Put on some gasoline drawers on and skeet your ass back to hell. Because one thing people let their children do is bombard them with their issues. We have to start teaching our children life gonna life. I'm going to teach you morals and I'm going to teach you character. That's what I'm pouring into you. Now, you can go out there and act like you don't have no morals or no character after you being raised by me. Because I'm a different type of mama, and everybody knows that about me. I done poured into you. I done prayed. I done showed. I done took you by your hand. You act like you still can't listen. Well, I tell them all. Well, I let life show you. I bet I know somebody who can show you. Life. Because for people my age, no. Pretty, ugly, fat, skinny, good job, bad job, rich, poor. Life gonna hit you upside the head. It's gonna pink. It's just gonna box you up till you figure out how to fight for yourself. And that's something that your parents can't give to you. Because if they didn't know how to fight, or if the fight was beat out of them, how can they show you how to fight? They can't. Life has to. That's why people come in your life, in my life. Let me use me. Where my mother and father fell short. Where Lewis fell short, Tony White stepped in. His brother, baby brother, military, Tokyo and Japan. He would send us all these gift boxes from Tokyo and Japan, stuff they didn't even have in America because he was in the military. So we would be wearing all this stuff, and I'll be packing all these purses that they just don't have in America. People ask where I get it from. Tokyo. Where's Tokyo? I was in the 7th grade. I don't know what the fuck Tokyo was when I was in 7th grade. I just knew it wasn't here. I didn't know a lot about the world when I was in middle school. So I'm trying to tell them, they don't know. I don't know. That's how it is. But where he felt short, his baby brother stepped right in. You understand that? Michael Green, where he fell short, my Aunt Vanessa would step in. All the time. We can always, Aunt Vanessa. And one thing about Aunt Vanessa going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not. Like it or not, you going to get the truth. And if she wrong, she'll tell you, if I'm wrong, then baby, I'm sorry, but this is just how I feel. That's that on that. People come into your life to get you the next step. It's people that have got me from one instance in my life to the next instance in my life. That wasn't my parents. These are people that God put in my life to get me from here. Linda and Michael Boudouin got me from one point of my life to the next point of my life. Sharon Baker, one part of my life to the next part of my life. You get what I'm saying? Patricia Agali, one part of my life to the next end of my life. Rhonda Robinson, one part of my life to the next. And these were people working in simultaneously. It's kind of like the same time, but they all had a part to play to get me from one part of my life to the other part of my life. People came and just grabbed me. Come on, let me get you. Hey, girl, let me get you to going and doing and being. I didn't have that before, but I had people to come into my life that God allowed to come into my life to help me from one point to the other point to the other point. And that's what I try to be for people, a village, because it takes a village to raise a child. If you think it's just going to take your mama and your daddy, ooh, you're going to be a little screwed up, sugar. If you just banking on mama and daddy, it's a lot in life you ain't going to know. If you just banking on mom and daddy, you have to allow other people from the outside world to infiltrate your life and get you from one step to the other, because that's all God. It's all good because it's all God. Those people come into your life because they cross your path because it's God led. And they're not here to stay forever. They're just not. They're here to come in, get you to a point, and then they fade off. And then somebody else come in and get you to a point, and then they fade off. That's life. Real helpers are not here to stay. They are helpers. They are healers. They heal, help, and go on. Heal, help, go on. They're not here to stay forever. So hating our parents, it's really unproductive. What we should do instead of hating our parents is heal our parents. I took care of my mom till she died. And she started off being my mom. And then she went from being my mom to sister girl. Then she went from being sister girl to my actual daughter. That's how I knew that she was really, really sick, because she would call me mom. And every time she did it, it spooked me. I would bust out crying. Oh, kind of crazy shit I would do. But I knew that it was something in her. She was asking for my help. Help me. Help me. If I was too busy, too distracted, my mom wouldn't have lived as long as she lived. If I put everything above her and I didn't care about her care. It's not a doctor's appointment that she went to that I didn't show up to. I wasn't sending her to no doctor's appointment by herself. And I promised her that. When she got diagnosed with dementia, I said, Mama, you're not going to have to walk this journey by yourself. I'm going to walk it with your sister. And we going to figure it out together. And figure it out we did. And the one thing I learned, I'm telepathic with my mom. I've always been that way. I've always could like pick up how she felt. I just knew her. I knew her in a way where I know God knitted me in her womb for real, like for a reason. I knew her. And when she lost the ability, when her brain started slowing down and she couldn't think, she would say, I want to do, wait, and I would say it, she'd be like, you got it, girl. That built trust with her and I. The more I could read her mind and read her emotions and stuff like that, she'd be like, how you knew? I said, because I'm your daughter. And we the same people. And God gave us to each other. And the more I would tell her that, she would just look at me and she would pat me to let me know you're doing a good job, Mo. That was purpose for me, to take care of her. I can't even explain to you when I got her death certificate. And I've been studying how people with dementia die. Why I've been studying that? But I studied it. And normally on their death certificate, it's several things that they die from. A lot of it is neglect, because they don't have the language to talk to you and you don't understand what they're trying to say, even through them not speaking at all. When I got my mom's death certificate, and it had one thing on there, and that was dementia. And then I have heart failure, kidney failure, lung, blood, dementia. Her brain just cut off. I can't tell you how I sat and cried. That one thing was on that death certificate. I did a good job. I did not neglect her. I understood her. And a part of me died with her, believe it or not. So I would suggest people not to hate. This very God that you say you believe and that you love. Can't nobody put a baby in a woman but God. A woman's eggs is as old as the woman. Okay? An egg and a woman as old as she is. That sperm is not that old. It takes 1 billion sperm cells to pregnate one egg. And that one egg can run from that sperm. She can run. She be like, oh, nope, not you. Not you. Oh, not you. Okay, not you. An egg can run. Egg can run from you all day long. But that egg is where that child is fertilized. That child is fertilized and knit in this woman's womb. Can't nobody do that but God. So the same God we say that's all-knowing, omnipotent, everywhere, this God of everything, how do we believe in that God? But then hate where we were knitted? I think we were there not to hate, but to heal. I do believe that. And I hope that somebody passes this video and chooses to go make up with their parent to understand the parent didn't have the capacity. And and we all know love, slavery and Jim Crow, wasn't no love being given. It was all hate. But to heal your parent will be the most beautiful thing you can do. Heal. Don't hurt and don't hate. Heal. And that you can't heal, give empathy and compassion to it. So that when whatever happens to that person happen, in here you feel light. You don't feel like you missed the mark or you're destroyed. So heal and give empathy and compassion to where God needed you. Because you have to bloom where you're planted. And that's it. And hating your parents does not create safety for you. It creates more uncertainty for you when you hate your parents. Because you always look at God as the center of all that. So if you think your parents hate you, then you think God hates you because that's what God put you. Something to think about. Namaste.